Okay, so this is about absolute values. And absolute values take whatever's inside and makes it positive. The only time you'll ever have a negative answer is if there's one on the outside. So like this, this, and this, I know they're all coming out positive. No matter what, they have to come out positive. Because there's no negative where? On the outside. So this answer, 5 minus 3 is 2. Absolute value of 2 is 2. This one, negative 2. Why isn't the answer negative? Because these are like positive makers. Going to be positive 2. This one, the answer is positive 5. I don't want you to think that it changes it to the opposite. It doesn't. It's a positive maker. Okay, but here's the last one. Negatives all over the place. You start on the inside. The positive maker does its work. It becomes positive 7. But then there's a negative on the outside. How many of you knew it was going to be a negative 7? Okay, good. Then the only thing that, yeah, question? So if it's on the outside, it's always a negative. Yep. Okay. Now, what happens when we do this, though, and make it into an equation? Well, it's really pretty easy. You have to do 2 equations. And I don't know if you remember this, but I showed you this in the top 20. We'll see if any of you have a short-term memory. Actually, that's actually more of a little bit long-term because we did it like several months ago. We'll see if your long-term memory will remember this. What's underneath my scribble here could either be 7 or what? Or negative 7. So here's how you can solve this thing by graphing. You graph y equals x and you graph y equals 7. Now, y equals x is one of those things you need to memorize because it's one of the big 12. Did you know that there are 12 functions? There are 12 big ones. Kind of like there's 12 months of the year. There's 12 functions. I know you know some of these. You guys have seen this guy before. You remember the parabola? That one's y equals x squared. If you'd forgotten it, that's one of the big 12. There's only 12 for math. The only 12 important ones, I should say. Here's one of the most basic of them all. Y equals x. That's one of the big 12. That's just a line that goes through 0, 0, 0, and has a slope of 1. It's like the simplest of all lines. Okay? Well, you got one more of your 12 today. The absolute value function. When you graph y equals absolute value of x, it's a big V shape, and it looks like this. So every time you have to graph absolute value of x today, it's like a graph. It's a big V. So if I say, here's your problem. Absolute value of x equals 7. That's the absolute value part. Y equals absolute value of x, that's that V. What do you think y equals 7 will look like? It's a separate graph. I'm going to do it in blue now. I'm going to show you where y equals 7 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a spot where y equals 7. So it's this whole line right here. Y equals 7. If it had been going the other way, we'd be saying it was like x equals 7. That's the line y equals 7. Does that blue line make sense to you for y equals 7? Okay. Then there's 2 answers. Here and here. It's where the lines cross. And take a wild guess what that answer is. And then what's this answer? It's kind of like similar except it's going the opposite direction, right? So what's this answer? 7. And what's this answer? X equals negative 7. That's how you show it with a graph. I'm going to give you another one. Absolute value of x equals 4. Well then, y equals absolute value of x. You remember what letter it makes? A V. You make a big V on your paper. Over 1, up 1, another over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, and it makes a V like this. It goes this way. There. There's the y equals absolute value of x thing. How about y equals 4? That's another line. And it goes through where? Y equals 4. Boom. there. There's y equals 4. What are the important spots? It's graph both sides and see where they cross. What I just told you is something I teach my highest level math classes too. That if you graph the left side and you graph the right side, where do you think the important spot is? It's where they touch. We did that before with only straight lines. Now we got this V-shaped line. But still, what's important is where they cross. Where did the red one touch the black one? Right there and right there. And I know what the answer is. It's two things. It's 4 and what else? -4. So the challenge here isn't to get the answers. I know. It's 4 and it's -4. The challenge is to make the picture. All right? So you guys, see if you can handle this. Absolute value of x equals -1. Now wait. Stop for a second. Didn't I say absolute values were positive makers? Is there any way to make the absolute value come out negative like I just showed there? Only if you had a negative on the outside. Is there a negative on the outside? No. So let me show you why this graph doesn't work, because watch, it works. Actually, it works beautifully. That's the graph of y equals x. What's the graph of y equals -1? It's a line that runs down here. Where do these two cross? They don't cross. So there's no solution. Does that make sense to you? The graphs aren't touching, so what's the solution? No solution. And is there anything where you do the absolute value of it and it comes out negative? No. That's why I said they're positive makers. So if you graph the V and you see what it looks like, could this, wait a minute, sorry. Here's the absolute value graph. Absolute value of x equals -5. You know what the absolute value looks like? You know where y equals -5? Draw me a picture. Draw me a picture for that. Don't even answer the question. Just draw me the picture. Sketch it. Sketch that. It's almost the last one. I know. Brain's almost done for the day. I'm seeing lots of V's, which is a good sign. Sketch it. You got it, sir. Did your lines cross? No. Because here's the V. That's this part, y equals absolute value of x. Now I'm going to do the other part in green. Y equals -5. That's down here, wherever -1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is. Okay, and did my green line and my red line cross? No. So what's the answer? No solution. All right. Now let's hand out the worksheet, do a couple together. I think you're going to say this is the easiest day of the semester. All right, I got it out to you. I hope number 1 is insultingly easy. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. The absolute value of 5 is 5. Stop being obnoxious. Number 2.
3.
Yes. The absolute value of -3 is 3. It's a positive maker. Makes everything come out positive. Tell me the first one that can come out negative. What's the first problem that can come out negative? Number 9 could. You need more? Number 9 has a negative that's not in the inside. So number 9 could possibly come out negative. Wait a minute. Oh, number 8 could also, because it's got a negative outside the parenthesis, right?
Wait, number 8?
Let's look at it. Number 8. Well, we'll do number 8 together. Oops, sorry. Number 8. Absolute value of 5 minus absolute value of 7. Well, this is just 5. And what's that?
7.
But then you do 5 minus 7. Do you see any absolute values left? No, we already did them all. So therefore, -2. And I said if there was a negative outside, that you could have a negative. See how there's a negative that's outside the absolute values? It's not in this guy, and it's not inside this guy. He's on the outside, so the answer can come out negative then. Because it's just 5 minus 7 without the bars. If it's 5 minus 7 without the absolute value, it's -2. Okay, so you do this stuff on the inside of the absolute values and you simplify it from there. So like when you get to number 11 that's looking really complicated, it's really not that bad. -8 plus 11 minus 4. I start inside and I work my way out. It's just like the aliens. They always like to lay eggs inside of you, and then they hatch from the inside out. You guys know that about aliens, right? I'm making up stuff, of course, but it's from a movie called Alien, and it was really disgusting. Okay, so anyway, they start on the inside, and they work their way out. So let's start on the inside. What's negative 8 plus 11? If you didn't know, we even allow calculators in this class. So you could get 3 is right. Good. And then minus 4, wait, with 3 minus 4 is negative 1. But once it comes out of the absolute value, that's the positive maker. Positive 1. Because it was the absolute value of negative 1. We start on the inside, work our way out. Okay, now that was just part of that problem though. Now it wants me to add something more. So here's my 1, I'll move him over because he has some more. Plus, there's a plus outside this. That's not going to change its sign. Only negatives would make it change sign. So this part with 7 and 4, 11. This plus is still plus. 1 plus 11 is 12. Final answer. There we go. I did 11 for you. There are so few of these that I need you to do all of them today. I know that should be cruel and unusual punishment. On the back side, you're going to do a whole bunch of drawing a V and then drawing a line across. It's going to be so easy. It's insultingly easy. Let's do number 13 together. As the value of x equals 5. How do you draw the absolute value of x part? It's a big V. Now be careful with your V. You can't just make it any way you want to. It needs to go over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1. You know what I mean? Like, it can't just be a super narrow, spiky V like that. It has to go over 1 and up 1 each time. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. You have to be careful. Your V has to be precise. Okay, anyway, there's my V. And then a line at y equals 5. You go up 5, do, and then I draw a line through there. And there's my 2 answers. And you'll see where they hit. They hit at exactly 2 spots. X equals 5 is where they hit, and x equals, what do you think? No, not 7. Over here. What? Negative 5. It hits at 5 and at negative 5. It'll hit in just perfectly at those spots. All right. There are some examples. This is the part where you get to work. Need help? Ask.